Now, from WBZ Sports, this is Burton Ernie Talk Football with Fauria.
Oh, my goodness. So right now you're thinking, I thought I was watching a football show, but this looks like Saturday morning cartoons. Well, welcome to Burton Ernie Talk Football with Fauria. Yeah, we want to do something kind of different football show, where you and I can learn something every week. And we're going to learn from the best. Football savant Ernie Adams, our own Christian Fauria, are right here in studio. Good to see you, my man.
Steve, it's an honor to be here. Let's have some fun and knock some ball.
I can't get over the graphics. It's like you made us all puppets / Muppets. And I got a nice little beard going. I love it.
Hey, you got to have some fun with it. 50 years.
Right. I started with the New England Patriots in 1975. Chuck Fairbanks was the coach. We had a great team. We basically got robbed out of a championship in that playoff game in '76 out in Oakland.
In the NFL for 50 years, 25 with the Patriots?
25 of the New England Patriots, 25. You know, grew up in Boston, got to work for my hometown team. I mean, that really doesn't happen in football very often, but it was great.
I see two things on here that probably people, I don't want to miss it. Twice you were working on Wall Street, 85 to 91, and you went, well, what were you
thinking?
Yeah, that seems like worse.
Hey, well, you know what? Life doesn't go in straight lines.
And no, it doesn't.
I think the paths go off right and left, and I wouldn't change a minute of it.
People know the name, but people really don't know you. And so I want to go back to your background just a little bit, because you and Bill played high school football. Bill Belichick played high school football together?
Bill and I were teammates on the 1970 team at Phillips Academy in Andover, Massachusetts.
What position did you play? What position did Bill play?
Well, I was a guard. He played center. If you want to really get to know someone, line up in the huddle right next to them. That's a great way.
And you're forced to coexist and communicate with each other. So I bet you guys probably had your own language. Well, I know you probably have your own language now.
Right. Well, it was, I mean, we hit it off from day one. And, of course, the story, which has been told many times, is that Bill's dad, Steve, was a coach at the Naval Academy. He had written a book on football, which I had read. Yeah. So when I saw this kid come up next to me in the huddle, and we had the tape across the helmet with the name on it, it's Belichick. So I said, are you the Belichick whose dad wrote a book? And he said, yeah. So that's kind of a unique way to start off.
I love it.
He's been a dear friend since fall of 1970.
Well, let's talk about the head coach now, Mike Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel, we signed as a free agent at the Patriots in 2001, and the reason we had such a good team was that we had guys like Mike Vrabel playing for us. I always said with Mike, the tougher the game, the bigger the situation, the better he was going to play consistently. I mean, he was a core guy in making us a team. And, you go back and look at the defense from our 2003, 2004 teams that Christian was on, and you say, wow, we were good. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were a butt-kicking defense.
You played with Vrabel.
Well, yeah, and, those defenses were, people, you hear these stories all the time about Super Bowl teams, and they talk about the practices, and it was never as tough as it was for us in a game as it was in practice. Like when we ramped up the intensity and the circumstances that Bill created, became more tougher. Like that's when you really that's when the practices are really interesting, and because there was no weak points. They're right side, left side, middle, safety, corner. You really couldn't escape any of the guys they had on defense.
Right, and that was, look at our linebackers. You got Mike Vrabel and Willie McGinnis coming off the edge. You had Teddy Bruschi, Roman Pfeiffer, Ted Johnson, those guys playing in the middle. It's like, okay, here we are. Where do you want to run the ball?
Yeah.
Tell some people things that they may not know about Vrabel, especially when Vrabel was playing scout team.
So when we were practicing team offense, this is Tom Brady playing with our first team offense.
Right.
We have a scout team defense simulating whatever team we were playing.
Now, Vrabel was on the first string defense.
He was on the first, but when it was scout team, now a lot of guys were in scout team defense, those defense players, they just go off, and watch.
Right.
Mike wanted to be the weak safety on the scout team, and of course he wasn't just playing weak safety, he was delivering his loud running commentary on the offense. Brady, oh hey, watch out boys, they try to trick us, they're not going to do that. I mean, it was great. It was the most entertaining part of practice.
Hold on. Now, see, that is from a coach's perspective.
Okay.
Right. Okay, from a player's perspective, who is actually on on the offense trying to get some real good work in,
right?
It was annoying.
It was
annoying.
Was Vrabel talking trash?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, trash and you name it.
Like
and then
I said, running commentary.
Yeah.
We put Corey Dillon out. Went, hey, they got a donkey out there. Don't worry about cover him. I mean, everybody. Hey, with Mike, everybody was fair game.
Yeah, no, it's true. And the best part about those days is when we would beat him and the ball would go over his head, or we'd call the wrong play out, or it actually was even funny when he really got under Tom's skin on a third down period, right? Where that was where it's the most intense.
Right.
They're blitzing like crazy. Right. We're trying to figure out where we should go with the ball. They're chirping like crazy, but you throw an incomplete, and God forbid you throw an interception. Woo. Talk about a party in the end zone. Oh my God, here we have to hear about this for a week.
Brady went to Michigan. Vrabel went to Ohio State.
And Ohio State, Michigan week, that was intense because whichever team won,
right?
If Ohio State won, Brady was going to have to wear an Ohio State jersey. Ooh. If Michigan won, Mike was going to have to wear a Michigan jersey. That's for bragging rights for a whole week. And both of them they would make sure everybody knew what it was.
They held true to it.
They held true to it, totally.
Did you think at that time Vrabel would ever become a coach?
Oh, you could see that Mike had, he loved football, was into learning it. The biggest issue, like a lot of players who say, well, this guy could be a good coach, is do they want to put up with the hours? Mm-hmm. Do they want to be in the office at 11:30 at night drawing cards for the next day's practice?
You're saying no.
No, you're right, though. It's, he obviously understands it. He understands the why. He can see beyond just the first play. It's like a guy I hate the whole analogies of guys playing chess, but that's basically how your mind needs to work. You really need to see ahead of the first two series, right? And then into the second half. And I also think more than anything, I think his personality helps him a lot with these young players. They really like him, and more importantly, they trust him, which I think is hard to accomplish.
Well, you mentioned the R word, respect.
Well,
right?
Look, the biggest thing is when a head coach walks in the room, so we'll have between the active roster and the practice squad, 60-some players. He's got all the coaches in there. So there are 75, 80 people, and they've all got to have total confidence and respect and credibility, when they're looking at their head coach. When he says something, you believe it. If he says, this week, we got to run over there and stand on our heads, you go over there and stand on your heads. It's like like 1 year with the Patriots, I knew we had the team right. At the end of practice, we have the running hills at Foxborough. Bill didn't say a word. Didn't say a word. The team went over the hill ready to run. They knew that's what we were going to do. They knew it was important, and they just went ahead and did it.
And that year, in the Super Bowl, what happened?
So we play the Falcons in the Super Bowl. Great game, obviously, 51. And at the end of the game, Dan Quinn, the Falcons coach, said, "We ran out of gas." Well, the Patriots didn't run out of gas. That was a big part of the reason why we won the game. And we had that next off season, we're going to the conditioning program. We had that Dan Quinn quote up on the board every day. So everybody
we ran out of gas.
And we ran out of gas. But that gets the players. Hey, they may not particularly like running the hill, but they get to the point. Hey, we're doing this because it helps us. And we always said at the Patriots, we talk about having fun playing football. The fun was standing out in the field after a Super Bowl, the confetti pouring down. You can put your fingerprints on the Lombardi trophy.
How intimidating is Vrabel, and will this team respond to him?
I think Mike has a great personality to be a coach. I'm sure they'll respond. It's like everything else in football. You got to have some breaks go your way. There's 32 teams. They all work hard. They're all good. They've all got talented athletes.
Well, some are all good.
Well, but every team in the league has. Okay, there are a few in any given year. They may have a bad year. But for the most part, when you go on the field for an NFL game, you're in for a football game.
Yeah, I mean, they're still pros. Now, their structure may be all, out of shape.
Humble jumbled.
And they may be lacking a quarterback, or maybe they make some bad decisions, or all of them decide to drop the ball or forget how to tackle. But they're still pros. So it's hard to go week to week and not have, a challenge in front of you. It just doesn't happen.
This is as compared to, say, take Mike's alma mater, Ohio State.
Yeah.
they're just fundamentally going to be better than most of the teams they're playing.
And more talented.
And more
they deal from the bottom of the deck.
Right, so it's really, they may play 2 or 3 games a year when they really get challenged.
Yeah.
In the NFL, most weeks, they've got people who can beat you, and if you're not really ready to play, you're going to lose.
You're going to get beat. All right, well, don't go anywhere because we're going to take a break. But when we come back, our first lesson on the whiteboard with Coach Ernie. You're watching Burton Ernie on Football with Fauria. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Burton Ernie, Talk Football with Fauria. We're at the board. Yes. And we got to go over some basic fundamentals of what Drake May is seeing when he walks up to the line of scrimmage.
Well, first of all, let me just, for everybody out there, this is what a diagram would look like in an NFL meeting room. Christian scenes plenty, just like this. This is the offensive formation. So you've got your 5 linemen, your tight end, 3 wide receivers. I got the quarterback here in shotgun. On defense, they're in nickel defense. So I got my 4 down linemen, 2 backers, the nickel, 2 corners, and 2 safeties.
Okay, so that's the basic formations for both. Now, as Drake May, calls a play, he leaves the huddle, right? Lineman gets set up. What's the first thing he should be looking for? What's the first identifier for him?
So what he's going to be going, of course, taking as much information as he can.
Right.
So have said going left to right. You want to see the safeties. How deep are they? How wide are they? Are they giving something away? For instance, if this safety is going to be coming down in coverage, well, the linebackers now, they may cheat a little bit the other way to compensate. So when he comes up, he sees the linebackers moving to his left. He can maybe think there's a safety coming down to the right.
What about the front? Okay, because the safeties is the first thing you're looking for. And then now what am I looking for as far as like danger areas for a blitz pickup?
Okay, so and I'll say the way Josh McDaniels has always liked to coach it, the quarterback you always hear the quarterback coming flashing. Mike's right.
There's the mic. There's the mic.
52.
Well,
52's the mic.
That's really directing the offensive line where they're going, and that which is going to determine what the pass protection is if it's a blitz. So if he comes up and says, all right, he can tell that this safety's down, this safety's back in the middle. He knows his blitz is going to come from his left. He may get the protection going that way.
All right, so this is a basic cover 2 defense, correct?
Well, it's a basic nickel defense, which they can end up playing any coverage. So he'll see cover 2 when the ball is snapped.
Okay.
Before the snap, the defensive guys, they don't want to make it easy, so they may try to hide it, move around. When the ball is snapped, these players have responsibilities.
What are the responsibilities of the cover 2?
In cover 2, you'll see both safeties driving deep and a little bit wide. They want to get about 3 yards inside the numbers because they are the deep players. If a ball is thrown in the deep half part of the field, they've got to make the play. If this safety tries to hide it, and he gets caught in here, this receiver gets outside, throw him a touchdown. The coach is not going to be real happy with that safety.
Yeah, okay, so explain to me, you got a young quarterback in his second year, still hasn't played in a full season yet.
Yep.
If you're Patrick Graham, if you're the defensive coordinator for the Raiders, who's been here, coached for the Patriots for a long period of time.
You're trying to confuse him.
Yeah, what would you do? What would be the easiest thing to do, like level 1?
Okay, well, as I say, it's pre-snap look. You can try to hide it a little bit. The big thing is when the ball is snapped, the disguise kind of ends. The players.
That's when they show their hands.
You have to go. If you're a deep half player, you got to get there. When you can pre-snap, you can try to step up a little bit, get the quarterback thinking: is he coming? Is he not coming?
Fake it till you make it.
But when the ball is snapped, you got to
get there. So the weakness of this defense for tight end, middle. You can't
down the middle, right? All day long.
This is where you eat.
I'm a seam route. Right? I'm a deep stop over the ball.
That's where you're going to really, if you're playing this, that you're going to really, your linebacker's number one responsibility is stopping that. For instance, everybody's heard of Tampa 2.
Tampa 2.
Well,
Draw the Tampa 2 up.
Tampa 2 is this middle linebacker. He is driving right there in the hole, trying to get 18, 20 yards deep.
Okay.
So that if you throw it in there, he's in a position to make the play. And let me say, they call it Tampa 2. Really, it should be Pittsburgh 2, because the guy who really started doing this was Jack Lambert.
Oh.
And the middle linebacker,
Steelers.
he's 6'5". I mean, his arms are down to his ankles. He goes up there. It's like throwing over Wilt Chamberlain. So you're not going to do it. So it's Tampa 2 because the Buccaneers really played, but the Steelers really started it with an athletic middle linebacker.
Don't tell Monty Kiffin that, who is generally credited for creating the Tampa 2 defense.
But I will say this. Coaching against the Steelers when they had Lambert, that was the first guy.
Well, that's the first time I've ever heard that.
Right.
So, look, we're getting a lot of information. We're learning.
You're educated.
Who was also there and got that defense was Tony Dungy. And remember, in the late 70s, Tony Dungy was a player on the Steelers. He was there with Jack Lambert.
Interesting.
Okay, so Drake May.
Right.
Against the Raiders, because that's who they're playing first. Josh McDaniels, who coached for the Raiders.
That's
right.
Interesting matchup.
Right, interesting matchup right there. So they want to take advantage of the Raiders' defense. Where do we attack? Now, Josh likes to go to his slot guys.
Right, but
Pop Douglas.
But what Josh really likes is throwing the ball to the open receivers and moving.
That sounds familiar.
I mean, yeah. So yeah, like you say, Josh likes to slot. Well, when we had Randy Moss, we kind of like going outside to Randy Moss.
That makes sense.
It makes sense. But the biggest thing for the quarterback is the key is seeing both of these safeties because that was cover 2. You also know if you see this safety dropping down right on the tight end and this safety going middle, that could be cover 1, man-free safety. The biggest thing is you got to see what both of these safeties are doing.
That's the first thing you're looking at.
When that ball, you got to know what they're doing because if you don't see a safety, inevitably what's going to happen, he's going to be right where you're throwing the ball. It's going to be an interception, and he's going to say, "Oh, well, where did he come from?"
I'm seeing ghosts.
Yeah,
I'm seeing ghosts.
But right? It's a ghost, but he had a jersey on with a number on it.
Yeah.
You just didn't identify it properly.
So you mentioned numbers, right? Certain players wear certain numbers. Talk about that. You were talking about the 50s and the 60s.
Right.
Like Drake May knows.
And of course, and I know, Tom. This is the kind of thing that would drive Tom Brady crazy.
Is what?
Is having seeing a number 4. And, that should be a defensive back, but he's got his hand on the ground playing defensive end.
See, it used to be really easy to identify who the Mike was. He's wearing a 50 number, right? The safeties, 30s or 40s. It was easy. The ends, you knew who the ends were. The nickels, it was easy to identify where you should push the protection. Now, it's 0 here, 2 here, 3 here, and now you really got to would it be fair to say, think of it as spaces? Just think about, okay, this is a space, forget about the number, or is that too...
Well, you really, to a degree, but you really need to know who those people are.
Yeah.
Like if you see a number 4 out there, you really need to know, is that a linebacker covering the tight end, or is that a safety?
But if nobody's in this middle, and you go, all right, a space is open.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, you always, by seeing the safeties, you're always looking for voids in the defense.
All right, we got to take a break.
All right.
Don't go anywhere. We'll come back to the board. You're watching Burton Ernie talk football with Fauria. We'll be right back.
Got that. You nailed it.
Welcome back, everyone, to Burton Ernie Talk Football with Fauria. Back here at the board with Ernie and Christian. And let me ask you this. Does the offense or defense have the advantage on the football field during a play?
I would say, realistically, the National Football League does not want games ending up 7-3. So they're going to make it they're going to give the offense a chance to throw the ball and complete passes. The illegal contact rules. So it used to be you could jam guys 12 yards downfield.
Can't do that anymore.
You can't do that anymore.
That changed to Bill Polian when we were playing against the Patriots playing against the Colts.
It's always a give and take, and it's okay. Then it's the officials. How tight are they going to call it? But I mean, the league does not want. They don't want
high-scoring games.
Yeah. Or they don't want them 65-50 like they used to get in the Big 12. I mean, it's.
So we talk about Drake May. There's a lot of zone coverage right now. This is zone. So what would be a way for them to disguise a zone coverage and trick Drake May and bait him into throwing an interception? Is there some variety of coverage that you remember that you think?
So for instance, we talked a bit about cover two.
Yeah.
I mean, what a lot of teams in the league now are doing is you could sink your corners inside. Being the deep half players, these guys go work. Safeties now working out to the flats and take your nickel back, ended up right here in the middle.
So everything's covered.
He would be the Tampa 2 Mike, except he's coming from the nickel.
So the two safeties swap with the corners,
right? And the nickel's coming back in the middle, and that's a way that teams are getting into that kind of coverage.
What do the backers do?
And the backers then. A lot of you hope you get your linebackers who can play pass defense, which a lot of them don't. But they're basically dropping it back here, hook zone in the seam. So you end up with a 5 underneath, but the people are moving different directions.
Where do you go with the ball then? Where's the opening?
Okay, the big opening, if they do this with the corners inside, you get your outside receiver come run the 7 route. Corner route. It's incredibly difficult for them to cover when the corners are sinking.
Give me the basketball analogy.
So when Drake is going back, or any quarterback's going back, he's got 5 eligible receivers.
Right.
If the defense is in base, they're going to rush for it. They have 7 in coverage. So I got my 5 receivers against your 7 in coverage. Just think at times it's a little bit. Imagine the Celtics bringing the ball down the floor and they got 6 guys on defense. It's going to change things. It would change things a little bit.
Got to be a smart quarterback.
Yeah.
Third step drop. You should know where you're going with the football.
Right, and this is where. So we used to go Friday practice, and as Christian knows, that's a mental day. You're not going full speed. And I did the cards for the defense. And I had a little thing going. Brady always said, "You can't fool me." Ooh. I've seen every card. Okay, big guy. So what I would do, if I particularly down in the red area, we'd go ahead, we'd drop a tackle in here and have 8.
Can't fool me. Can't fool me. You fooled them.
Right, and all of a sudden, whoa, you catch them.
I'm gonna be a fool if we don't take a break.
Yes.
We'll be back with more right after this. Welcome back to our final segment. Burton Ernie talk football with Fauria, and I got a question for you guys. The most unappreciated position in football, and why? You first, Ernie.
I would say it's tight end, because
Look at you.
Go ahead. Well, tell me why. Tell him why, Ernie.
Because the tight end he's involved in all the offensive line blocking.
Yeah.
The double teams with the tackle, the slip blocks, everything. He's got to block like a lineman. And when a pass is called, he's got to run routes. He's got to be able to read the defense. If it's cover 2, he may have to go down the middle. Otherwise, he'd hook it up. And you don't really have enough time to get good at both of those.
And I would just add that the only difference between a quarterback and a tight end is that the tight end does not throw the ball. That's what I would say to the public. Minus the long snapper.
The long snapper.
Underappreciated. You never really think about those guys until they mess up. Right, and then you realize how important it is. It's a specialized position now. Guys work on this in college just to do this in the pro, and they have a long career. And when their career is over, they feel great because they never hit anybody.
If I had a young college player who was athletic, say 6'2", 230, come to me and say, "How should I get to the NFL?" I say,
"We got to go
a long snapper."
Yeah,
become a long snapper. I was going to say nose tackle, but that's what do I know?
No, you really need.
That's going to do it for this week's show. Appreciate you, Ernie. That's going to do it for this week's show. Thank you all for joining us. We'll be here every Tuesday night, 9 o'clock on TV 38, and you can find us streaming on CBS News Boston and on our YouTube channel as well. For Ernie Adams and Christian Fauria, I'm Steve Burton. We'll see you next week, everybody. See you later.